In spring of last year, I gathered all of my wild satellite paintings and put on a little art show in my city. And something that I really wanted for that show was an interactive project for visitors to play with. So I drew a sketch version of Milo with Finches, a painting that had sold before I got to hang the show. The story of that painting is related to Milo's vulnerability and patience being rewarded with a kind of delicate friendship. And so the interactive project allowed visitors to color a little paper finch of their own, and either keep it or trade it with one that was already made. Either way, whoever came to visit the show got to walk away with a little piece of it as a token of appreciation. And so, seeing as there weren't very many visitors, and me being overprepared, I ended up with a hefty stack of blank birds. But since then, I have very slowly decorated those paper birds, and I always keep a small stack of them in my phone case. And sometimes I would mail them to patrons, but I love to leave one in little community hubs all over town, such as on coffee shop bulletins, mini free art galleries, but especially in the little free libraries that you find in the street. The most important thing that I do to refill my well of inspiration is to take walks through forests and neighborhoods, and we usually come across these little book exchanges in unlikely locations, and I always regret not having a book on me to contribute. But now I always have decorated birds to share, and each one is a little unique piece of art in its own right. I don't want to litter the neighborhood with birds like crazy. Even if it is cute free art, I don't want to get too obnoxious with it. But the Lower Mainland is a pretty big place with over 2 million people, so finding one of these birds may still be pretty difficult. I think leaving little artworks around feels really awkward for most people. You know, nothing is completely altruistic. It has, my name on the back. It's a kind of a marketing thing if you think of it in that way. And nobody wants to feel like they're littering or dumping unwanted items in a bin meant for, somebody's old books. And especially in such an overly judgmental social media climate, nobody wants to come off as arrogant to think, oh, everyone's going to be so blessed and thrilled to receive my free art in a box where you wouldn't expect it, you know what I mean? But come on, it's a cute paper bird. I love to find these things, and they're technically perfect to use as a bookmark for that next book that somebody picks up. So technically you can argue that it's actually useful. And yes, of course, my handle is on the back in case anyone gets curious. And today I decided to do a little painting, maybe that I could hang up in the vet office. I was going to do these very decorated budgies flying out of this little library, directly inspired by a pic that I took of depositing a bird in the little library. It's very similar to a really old painting that I did forever ago, where I think I had hearts coming out of a mailbox. I think I painted that because I was doing artist trading card trades. And, rough time, you're doing a job that doesn't fit you, you're underemployed, and you're sort of doing art on the side. Like the one saving grace during that time is coming home and finding this cute little color decorated envelope in your mailbox that has a little surprise piece of art, artist trading card, and a cute little note inside. It just brings me so much joy, and so I wanted to paint that image of hearts coming out of a mailbox to celebrate that and remember that. And that's kind of how I feel when I paint this one here with all the budgies coming out of the little library. Surprise, look at this, all this color that you weren't expecting, and you get to take it home and have a little colorful highlight in your day, Doing the background of this painting made me really nervous because I wanted most of the focus to be on the birds coming out of the library, and I was worried that the background would make it hard to really focus on the subject in the front, or I wouldn't be able to capture much depth. So you'll see as I do the background, it's very light, it's very indistinct. I'm sort of capturing the shape of a house, noting that it does have windows and textures. I'm doing leaves in the front for, the bush that's there, but I'm kind of keeping it really mellow, really undetailed. Just sticking with color and texture and no lines. I'm trying to let the background be in the background. And I don't know how successful that was, but that's just the approach that I'm taking and why I'm just kind of freehanding it. Later on, I will be adding texture by sewing little lines with thread to suggest a movement to it, and I wanted to have blobs of color raining down from the birds as if they are like leaching color into the world around them. Because like I said, I wanted these budgies to look a little bit fantastic in their coloring and their patterns, to be kind of similar to the finches that I've been coloring. So I usually do the little burb jobs without any fanfare, but lately I've been taking photos and posting them to Instagram. So if you happen to live in Metro Vancouver and would like to find a paper finch in the wild, you can follow me on there for clues. I do come across these opportunities really spontaneously though, so it's really hard to predict where and when I'll be able to leave a paper bird anywhere. Like I said, I don't really want to get obnoxious, and I only leave them in places that make sense, that are meant to be accessible, to the community. I'm not like stealing thumbtacks from a corporate bulletin board, you know what I mean? So it's very rare. It's very rare, but that's just a fun thing that I've been doing, and I'm just really eager to continue this little thing that came from the Wild Satellite Show, which wasn't really that well seen, and the project is really, really fun, and I got a lot of birds that day, and I love all of them, and I just wanted to kind of keep that going, let it be kind of like a surprise project for lots of people, and I wonder where something like that might go someday, Thank you for hanging out with me today. I'll see you next time.